But this is a truth we seldom think about when we give our heart away. In the temporary, perishing world we all inhabit, the advent of love is a seed of grief. Gabriel Marcel said, "To love someone is to say, thou shalt not die." But even if we do not say it aloud, even if we only whisper it in the cellar of our heart, love readies us for weeping. Our first kiss and our first tear are linked. However, this same love that causes our grief can console us. But we must trust the love and follow it to its root. We must not see it as a futile rebellion against mortality, but as a hint that there's more than meets the eye and more than conventional wisdom will admit. This love that makes us accompany the ill and even visit their graves after they die just may be showing us something of God's love. Our reluctance to let people go may touch upon the truth of Lazarus's resuscitation. The love that troubles Jesus and makes him weep at the loss of Lazarus also makes him go after Lazarus and free him from the imprisonment of death. The love of God in Jesus will not let Lazarus go. And so death has to release him. The love that causes our grief is at its root the love that consoles our grief. Consolation ultimately comes from realizing love is stronger than death. Do you believe that? Love is stronger than death. This isn't an easy realization to embrace. As Martha knew, the stench of death is strong. Sometimes our minds focus on the unyielding fact of physical death, and we speculate about how some form of continued existence is even possible. However, the story proclaims another way to proceed. Jesus is the resurrection and the life. He enters the place of our grief and death and separation so he can bring God's life to a lifeless situation, the place of complete human failing. And in this way, Jesus is glorified because he brings God's love into a place where it was not, transforming it into an existence beyond loss. What Jesus did for Lazarus is for you and me a sign of divine life sustaining human life through the disintegration of death. Jesus Christ totally joins us in our tears, for the only way beyond death and grief is through it. Sustained by his loving presence, you and I can grieve greatly the physical loss of our loved ones, and we can simultaneously hope greatly for their continued life in God. Love generates both grief and consolation. As St. Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 4, do not grieve as those who have no hope. I assume he meant we should grieve as those who have hope. Centuries earlier, Moses told Pharaoh that God commanded, "Let my people go now." Let my people go is spoken to death by the one who calls himself the resurrection and the life. Thanks be to God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.